Hi there, and welcome to this webinar on the beautiful state of Washington in the USA. My name is Michael, and I'm the Account Director for the State of Washington, Visit Seattle, and the Port of Seattle for the Australian and New Zealand markets. Over the next few minutes, I'm thrilled to be able to take you on a virtual road trip around this amazing part of the USA. Washington State currently ranks in the top 10 US states visited by Australian and New Zealand tourists, so I hope this presentation helps provide you the tools and knowledge to convert any inquiries you may receive from clients looking to visit this stunning state, and possibly even help add it to a few new clients' bucket lists as well. So without further ado, let's get moving. And there's never been a better time to brush up on the state of Washington, because we're giving away some fantastic prizes just for watching this webinar. So grab a cuppa, sit down and watch the webinar, and then keep your eyes peeled for the QR code at the end to answer some questions on the state and go into the draw to win. Washington State is at the very top left-hand corner of the United States, right alongside the Canada border. In fact, Vancouver is about a 2.5 hour to 3 hour drive to the north, and this proximity allows clients to combine the US and Canada in one trip, if this is their desire. Additionally, Portland, Oregon is around 3 hours drive to the south. Again, a great destination to combine with Seattle when planning road trips in the USA. This whole region is known as the Pacific Northwest, and the region is, without question, one of the best kept secrets for Australian and New Zealand travellers. In this webinar, I'll touch base on the fact that the state, dubbed the Evergreen State, is not only covered in lush greenery, but there is also a big, beautiful body of water to the north that houses tons of islands to explore, and a long, magical Pacific coastline that forms part of the iconic Pacific Coast Highway. Yes, it does extend beyond California. And see all those little bottles of wine on the map? We produce some amazing wines in our wine regions, but I'll save that good news for later on in the presentation. The gateway to Washington State is Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, and there are multiple routes Australian and New Zealand travellers can take to get to Seattle. Passengers can connect to Seattle via LA, San Francisco, Vancouver, Honolulu, Tahiti, and even multiple Asian cities like Taipei and Tokyo. I'll start this trip around Washington by first taking you to all three of our wonderful national parks: Mount Rainier, Olympic, and North Cascades National Park. As you can see on this map, all are within close proximity to Seattle and can be accessed as either a day tour or as part of a road trip. We definitely recommend spending a few days in each though to make sure you experience all the majesty that these breathtaking national parks offer. Let's go anti-clockwise through Elliott Bay, just west of Seattle, to Olympic National Park first. Olympic National Park is best explored via a road trip due to its distance from Seattle and the fact that many of the park's must-visit locations are scattered around its nearly 1 million acres. You can drive from Seattle around the main road via Olympia, which is the state's capital, which is just to the south, or you can go on a car ferry from downtown over to Bainbridge Island and head north. If you're a Grey's Anatomy fan, this is the ferry Meredith would often be seen riding in the show. Bainbridge is also a great location to explore, and fun fact, it's also where pickleball was first created. From Bainbridge, it's about 90 minutes to 2 hours to the northern entrance of Olympic National Park, located in Port Angeles. Olympic National Park is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is home to incredible landscapes. Here you can explore the high mountains of Hurricane Ridge and the beautiful Pacific Coast beaches with their rock formations and tide pools. There is a wonderful contrast of hot springs and cool mountain lakes, and places to stay include Port Angeles, Sequim, Forks, anyone who's read or watched the Twilight series might recognize that town name, and Aberdeen, the birthplace of Kurt Cobain from Nirvana. In Olympic National Park, you'll also find the lush Hoh rainforest, the only temperate rainforest in the lower 48 states. It's actually said to be the quietest place on Earth due to the density of the moss, and it's simply stunning. There's a 720-kilometer loop road that travelers can drive all around Olympic National Park. You'll probably see a few elk herds that call this area home too, but that's just the start of the incredible wildlife you may discover across all of Washington State. Heading to the south now to Mount Rainier National Park, which is about a 2-hour drive from Seattle. Many people visit this mountain as a day trip to hike and enjoy the views, but again, to do this incredible destination justice, you should factor in a few days. Mount Rainier is one of America's most notable volcanoes, and in the winter is covered in well over 100 glaciers. But in the spring and summer, the alpine meadows come alive in a colourful display of wildflowers. It's a really magical place to go hiking, relax with a book, and just take in the majesty of this world-renowned natural wonder. There are countless hikes to suit any type of bushwalker up and around the mountain also. There are not too many hotels around Mount Rainier itself, but there are campsites. On the 706, there's the town of Ashford if you have clients wanting to stay overnight and explore the mountains over a few days. But there's an area at the bottom of Mount Rainier called Paradise. This is where Christine Falls Bridge, the image from the last slide, is, along with Reflection Lake, Martha, and Myrtle Falls. Now back up to the northeast, past Seattle to North Cascades National Park. It's our most remote national park, or what we like to call our less visited gem, with a wilderness area that is actually twice the size of Yellowstone. This park is full of wildlife, with high alpine regions and stunning aqua clear water in the lakes and rivers. Similar to Olympic National Park, there is also a loop road that visitors can drive to tour this region, starting just north of Seattle. The dedicated website for this loop is cascadeloop.com, and that site is well worth a visit for any of you that have nature and adventure loving clients. Honestly, there is so much to see and do in this region, and across all of our national parks, that they probably each deserve a webinar to themselves. So we encourage you to visit each national park's website to get information on hiking trails, campsites, and the best places to stay to help your clients plan the ultimate Washington State National Park adventure. Now, I know I touched base on this with my first map in the presentation. All those little bottles of wine, they were wine regions. Why so many? Well, Washington State is the second largest producer of wine in the USA. Across the state, there are over 1,000 vineyards and tasting rooms. And if you're curious as to what wine varietals you should try, the region is particularly famous for its Bordeaux-style red blends, including Cab Sav, Merlot, and Malbec, as well as Chardonnays and Rieslings. Key areas for wine country are Yakima, the top one of the three circles you can see on the map, Tri-Cities, which is the middle circle, and Walla Walla, all of which are around 2, 3, and 4 hour drives respectively from Seattle, or under an hour by plane. If your clients are a little time restricted, you don't need to go that far from Seattle to experience great wine though. Just 30 minutes from the city, the town of Woodinville also provides a beautiful and accessible spot to taste wine at one of over 115 tasting rooms. There's actually a great company called Evergreen Escapes that do a Snoqualmie Falls and Woodinville day tour. You should be able to book that through a local wholesaler. There are also so many great activities in this area. You can float down the Yakima River, go fishing or horse riding, mountain biking, or hiking. So much fun to be had, and all paired with great food, beer, and wine. And as you'd expect, there are lots of fantastic accommodation options around these wine regions. But it's not just wine that's aplenty in Washington. We're also a huge producer of hops. 75% of the hop supply in the entire USA comes out of Yakima Valley. So whilst wine is everywhere, you don't have to go very far to find great craft beer either. I now wanted to share a few more destinations around the state that are real standouts, starting with each of these locations circled on the map here. Over the next few slides, I'll zoom in on each region so you can take a closer look. Just north of Walla Walla in eastern Washington is Palouse Falls State Park. More than 13,000 years ago, during the Ice Age, glaciers scraped their way across the American West, carving deep canyons and rugged landscapes. This water is still carving new pathways through the earth, and Palouse Falls is one such pathway. Nearby, Spokane is the second largest city in the state, and one of the fastest growing cities in America. It's a great place to stop if you are road tripping towards Glacier National Park or Yellowstone National Park. This is a funky US college town, meaning it has great, welcoming vibes. And right in the heart of town, you'll find a roaring river, a waterfall, and great restaurants and breweries. The towns of Winthrop and Twisp are on the Cascade Loop and are beautiful little country towns where you can have cowboy-style dinners in the summer months. In other words, ride on horseback to dine under the stars. Also on the Cascade Loop is the town of Leavenworth, a wonderful Bavarian-style village which, due to a rerouted railway, needed to reinvent itself back in the early 1960s. Today, every storefront, whether it's a coffee shop, a hotel, or a pub, has a Bavarian front. It even has an alpine coaster. This town is amazing to visit at any time of the year, but during Oktoberfest and Christmas are particularly fantastic. A gorgeous scenic town with super fun twists for young and old, this is one not to miss. For those clients who may be a little time poor, you can still suggest they go and visit the stunning Snoqualmie Falls. Just a short drive from Seattle, Snoqualmie offers trails to hike, a rustic lodge for lunch, and these magnificent views. About 40 minutes south of Seattle, you'll find Tacoma, which blends natural beauty with urban charm. Nestled by Puget Sound, and a little closer to Mount Rainier, it offers stunning views, vibrant arts, museums, and a growing food scene. It's a welcoming, creative, and affordable alternative to nearby Seattle, and is home to many incredible museums, including LeMay, America's Car Museum, and the Museum of Glass. Another fun fact for you, the city was also used as a primary filming location for 10 Things I Hate About You, and recognizable locations from the movie can be spotted all around the city, including the school. Olympia is the state capital of Washington, and this town exudes charm and a vibrant art scene. It also has a historic downtown and scenic waterfront. Nestled at the southern tip of Puget Sound, it offers easy access to forests, beaches, and mountains. A progressive spirit, local markets, and a strong community vibe make it uniquely welcoming and enriching, and a great place to overnight on a Washington state road trip. Now, Washington may be called the Evergreen State, but that doesn't mean it's entirely green. We have an abundance of water activities and islands and waterways to explore, where visitors can safely view pods of resident humpbacks and orca whales. They could go clam digging on the Long Beach Peninsula, try their hand at world-class wind and kite surfing on the Columbia River Gorge, or stand up paddle boarding or kayaking pretty much anywhere across the state. From the Columbia River Gorge in the very south, bordering Oregon, to the open beaches of the Pacific coast, all the way up to the islands in the northwest, there are water views wherever you look. Now, just to the north of Seattle through the Puget Sound are the popular and picturesque Whidbey and Camano Islands. And a bit further north is a group of islands named the San Juan Islands. Let's take a look at this region. Whidbey and Camano Islands are connected to the mainland by bridges, but you can also take a car ferry, which I highly recommend. Driving onto the ferries in Washington is so easy and really cost effective. If your clients are not shy about driving, I highly recommend they access this area through a ferry. Now, these islands also offer that quintessential American coastal town vibe. Think picturesque main streets, fishing boats, beautiful gift shops, bakeries, ice cream parlors, and diners. This is the perfect place to live like a local and just take in the scenic vistas and small town charm. There are hundreds of islands and rock formations in the San Juan County, and they are serviced by 3 ferries. Orcas Island and Lopez Island are the most popular and host the vast majority of accommodation, dining options, and tourism activities. The area is known for the resident orca whales and breathtaking beaches. You can do a bike or kayak or whale watching tour, or you can even explore south coast towns to learn about their maritime heritage and to enjoy, as fresh as you can get, seafood. Now, as I said before, exploring northwestern Washington's islands and waterways is so easy via the ferry system. You can easily plan your clients a 3-day or more itinerary to take in some beautiful waterfront towns and majestic scenery. This is where you can also combine a bit of Canada with the Black Ball Ferry operating between Victoria and Port Angeles in Olympic National Park. We have developed set pre and post cruise itineraries for those who want to see a little more of what's on offer in our beautiful state, so feel free to contact me anytime for more information. Alright, now let's move on to Seattle. Seattle is known as the Emerald City and got its name simply by the fact that it is surrounded by lush greenery. This is Mother Nature's city, and the city itself is jam-packed with iconic and unique attractions set amongst beautiful natural wonders. But there's no better place to start than the iconic Space Needle. Built in 1962 for the World's Fair, it recently had a massive $100 million refurbishment. You can look out over the breathtaking 360-degree views of the city and Puget Sound, Mount Rainier, and the Cascade and Olympic Mountain ranges. You could also grab a drink or a bite to eat, or an ice cream at the cafe at the top, and if you're brave enough, step onto the Loop, the world's first and only rotating glass platform. Or if you're like me and petrified of heights, watch others do it from a safe distance. Founded in 1907, the Pike Place Market is the longest running farmers market in the whole of the USA. There are tons of food, craft, and artisan stalls to enjoy. Personally, I recommend a food tour with either Show Me Seattle or Eat Seattle to get some local knowledge and history of the area, while you're savouring some delicious bites. Also, the first ever Starbucks shop opened here in 1971 and is still there to this day. This coffee culture is also part of the lifeblood of Seattle. This is one American city that breaks the stereotype. They know good coffee, and if it's not good, the location won't last long. Pike Place Market is also where they do the famous salmon toss. Oh, and one last thing, it's also home to a wall full of chewing gum. It might be colourful, it also may be the second most unhygienic landmark in the world. What's the first? Well, here's a hint. It's in Ireland and you kiss it. Chihuly Garden Glass is a one-of-a-kind art experience which showcases some of the unique and colourful creations by Dale Chihuly. There are 8 galleries, the centerpiece glasshouse, and wonderful gardens full of glass flowers and trees. It's a must for any art lover. Also for art lovers, there's also the Seattle Art Museum, or SAM as it's known by the locals, which is well worth a visit. Now to my favourite. Mopop Museum is full to the brim of music and pop culture memorabilia. It's awesome to see props from your favourite cult movies and music memorabilia from all different artists and genres. Jimi Hendrix's guitar is here, along with 100 other rock stars. There are rotating exhibits, but some of the longer term exhibits include tributes to fantasy and sci-fi films, novels and TV shows, and a Nirvana exhibit, including the guitar Kurt Cobain smashed on stage. Aviation is a big part of the heritage of Seattle, and to get a real flavour of it, head north of Seattle for the Boeing factory tour to see Boeing workers build their 787 Dreamliner. Also a must-do for aviation enthusiasts, and just south of downtown, is the Museum of Flight. It is the largest independent, not-for-profit air and space museum in the world, and is home to 175 aircraft and spacecraft, millions of rare photos, and dozens of exhibits and experiences. You can even hop aboard a Concorde or walk through a decommissioned Air Force One. There is so much to do in Seattle, so we recommend you advise your clients to get the Seattle City Pass, as it offers great value. The pass is valid for 9 days and provides entrance to 5 must-see Seattle attractions. You could easily do these attractions over 2 to 3 days pre or post cruise. But there's more to Seattle than these iconic tourist destinations alone. It's when you get out into its many neighbourhoods that the heart and soul of the city comes to life. Pioneer Square was the first official neighbourhood of Seattle. To learn about the history and the fire that wiped out 30 blocks in 1889, you can book your clients on Bill Spiedel's Underground Tour or a Beneath the Streets Underground History Tour. About 15 minutes by car from downtown is Ballard, and is home to some amazing Seattle breweries and the impressive Ballard Locks, which connect the fresh water of Lake Union to the Puget Sound. Fremont is another great area and is home to the Fremont Troll, a big troll under a bridge holding a life-size VW Beetle in its hands. You might have also seen it in 10 Things I Hate About You or Once Upon a Time. It's just one of the quirky art installations you'll discover across the whole city and the state. Capitol Hill is the centre of Seattle's LGBTQI+ scene, and South Lake Union is where you'll find the city's tech hub, home to Meta, Amazon, and Google. It's also home to cute, iconic houseboats, including the one from Sleepless in Seattle. You can even rent a hot tub boat and cruise by it on Lake Union. Now, we can't talk about Seattle without mentioning sport. We have every major sporting team: soccer, NFL, rugby, baseball, and basketball. This image is the new Climate Pledge Arena, which is home to the famous Seattle Kraken ice hockey and the Storm basketball teams. Sports fans can take a 65-minute guided tour of the arena, which also plays host to multiple concerts and family events throughout the year. We also have T-Mobile Park, and Seattle is proudly one of the host cities for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. 6 games will take place at our Lumen Field. Both these venues also have tours running for eager sports supporters, and are super easy to access on foot from Pioneer Square and downtown, making commuting a breeze. Seattle has also been rebuilding the central waterfront area, and this image is of our new Overlook Walk, which seamlessly links Pike Place Market to the downtown waterfront. It's a great place to spend a day wandering and enjoying attractions like Seattle Aquarium and the Great Wheel. Another thing that makes Seattle so special is cruising. The Port of Seattle is the premier gateway for Alaska cruises and operates 2 world-class downtown cruise terminals at Pier 66 and Pier 91. Both are super easy to access from the city. At both of our terminals, cruise ships can connect to the city's power grid, meaning they can turn off their engines completely, greatly reducing air emissions. Just over 50% of all Alaska-bound cruises sail out of Seattle's port via 8 major cruise lines for 7 to 11-day round-trip cruises. This year, we also welcomed Cunard to our port, and in 2026, we have the pleasure of welcoming Virgin Voyages, offering new itineraries and ships to choose from. There literally is a cruise for every cruise lover. Each year the season operates from April through to October, and as you've hopefully seen through this presentation, Seattle and the greater area of Washington State have so much to offer. So this really is the perfect cruise and stay region with so many natural wonders and amazing food, drink, and cultural activities, all within a day's drive from this world-class city and port. Before we finish up, I just want to touch base on a few of Seattle and Washington State's core themes, starting with our full jam-packed festival calendar. Whether it be a tulip festival, a boat show, or an air show, or a food, wine, or film festival, there is always something going on across the state. You can check with us on what events are going on when your clients are visiting. Music is also a huge part of Washington State culture. The birthplace of grunge has also been the starting point of some of the world's most iconic musicians and bands. Jimi Hendrix, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, the Foo Fighters, Heart, Macklemore, Ryan Lewis, Quincy Jones, Ray Charles, and this fellow on the screen, Sir Mix-a-Lot, all called Washington State home. Seattle and the state are also both widely acclaimed for their diversity, be it culinary, geographical, or cultural. In fact, the state is home to 29 federally recognized native tribes, and there are many native-focused museums visitors can tour that provide tangible connections to Washington State's earliest people and stories. Alright, so we know that's a lot to take in, so here are some further training resources and reference guides we hope will help you sell the region better. Starting with Visit Seattle's very own agent training platform. Go to www.seattledestinationtraining.org, save it, register, or get a login to get some great education on Seattle. If you're a CLEAR member, the Port of Seattle training module on the CLEAR Members Hub is also available, and by doing it, you will get 5 credit points from CLEAR. This module has a ton of information about the state and is a great resource to refer to again and again.
Alright, now for the information you've been waiting for. On the left-hand side, you'll find the Washington State Watch and Win QR code. Scan the QR code and answer a few questions based on the webinar you've just watched to go into the draw to win our first prize of a $200 gift card or 3 runner-up prizes of $100 gift cards just in time for the festive season. But remember that CLEAR training I just mentioned for the Port of Seattle? Well, we also have an incentive running for that. So on the right-hand side, you'll find a QR code linking to the Port of Seattle module on the CLEAR site. If you complete that, we also have 5 $100 gift cards to give away as an extra bonus.
There are also a number of short and long stay itineraries for both Seattle and the state of Washington on our linked tourism agents resource page. Anytime you need information, promotional ideas, copy, videos, images, or just general support, please don't hesitate to reach out. So in your next selling an Alaskan cruise or the ultimate USA road trip, then please remember to add the beautiful city of Seattle and the bucket list experiences in Washington State into the itinerary. Your clients will come back raving about it, that's for sure. So thanks for taking the time to listen today, and we hope to see you in the state of Washington soon.